Bitch, I'm about to blow up. Say what? Bitch, I'm about to blow up.
What's going on, guys? Silent Mike, Super Training Gym, Reebok 1, here to answer more questions from Instagram and YouTube. These questions in particular are from YouTube. I'm going to be filming a Q&A with Mark Smellybell himself from Instagram, so you can follow me at Silent Mike with 2 Ks. I think it should be the first post. Go ahead and ask your questions there. Let's get started. Got my little cheat sheet. Reebok's Classic Cap. Cassius Clay, my man Muhammad, killing it. First question. I can only do high bar because of mobility. I have a big back. How do I fix mobility on my shoulders? I think he's just talking about trying to get the bar a little bit lower on his back, instead, which often will be a stronger squatter in that position. Not always, but often. The easiest thing will be is just to move your grip out. Some bigger, wider, heavier guys or big benchers will be all internally rotated here, and they can't get their shoulders in tight with a closer grip. So if you move that grip out a little bit, that could help. Also, just simple stuff, man. Warming up your back or your shoulders before you squat. I know that doesn't seem necessarily like it'll help, but doing some pull-aparts, doing some dislocates with the band, that'll warm up that whole joint, get you under the bar a little bit easier. If it's really bad, and I'm not sure, he didn't specify if he's a power lifter or just trying to squat more weight, you can try a safety squat bar or a couple other tools, a cambered bar that can take some pressure off your shoulders and allow you to put the bar in a more advantageous place. For non-geared lifters, geared meaning powerlifting gear, multiply, single ply, not steroids, what percentage for conjugate 3-week dynamic wave? So in the conjugate system, typically you have 1 max effort day, 1 dynamic day. The max effort day is a variation of the 3 movements taken to a max double, max single, just straining hard, grinding. The other day, there's 1 lower body dynamic, 1 upper body dynamic, where you're handling lighter weights, sub-maximal weights, and you're moving the weight really fast, typically with accommodating resistance, bands or chains. The percentages have changed depending on who the coach is. Westside's Louis Simmons is kind of the originator, but the percentages tend to be anywhere from 50 to 75%. On the lower body days, Westside guys wear squat briefs, but they go upper body raw. So for non-geared lifters, I just suggest to move really fast. I was talking to Matt Wenning actually earlier today, who used to train at Westside and is a big advocate of the conjugate method. Basically, he'll do a 6-week wave and kind of start with really, really light weight, kind of moderate band tension, add chains as he goes, and those add 1 chain a week. Typically, these are sets of like 10 sets of 3 on the bench, maybe 8 sets of 2 on the squat. Adding a chain every week for 6 weeks. Start over at the exact same weight, just lightweight and a band. He said about 30% of his max bar weight plus the band. So you're just trying to move the weight fast. It's almost like a deload. That's why conjugate method is like a congruent periodization. There's no real peaks and valleys like some other methods. What is your favorite ice cream and favorite cereal? Well, if you guys go back in time, Mark Bell's Powercast on iTunes, I think we did an entire podcast, like an hour-long podcast on cereal. I love all cereal, but like Reese's Puffs or Money, Frosted Flakes, all of them, man. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I'll hammer them all. Favorite ice cream, pretty much anything. I like stuff with like candy in it. Whatever, man. Gelato, all that stuff. Flavors don't matter. I'll eat it all. Why do you prefer flat shoes over heeled shoes for squats? You see a lot of people wearing weightlifting shoes or a heel when they squat. Basically, that's just for the lack of mobility, either ankle mobility or tight calves, stuff like that. For me, I don't really have that issue. When I wear heels, I was squatting too deep. I was just like bottoming out, and I think that was the increased range of motion was just making me weaker. So I moved to flats just because I can hit depth just fine or go below parallel and flats just fine. See what works for you. If you really get the other thing with a lot of raw squatters is they'll get pitched forward pretty hard with a heel. Typically, a wider stance squatter will use flat shoes. You got to kind of experiment and also just work on your mobility. Hey, you are looking thick. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. Thick, I don't know what that means. Do you or have you used steroids? I have not used steroids. I've never supplemented with anything like that. I'm about 5'9", right now, about 195 pounds, just so you guys can get an idea. I'm not all that thick. I've been lifting almost my whole life. First for basketball when I started about 14 years old, and then now I'm about 26, so the last 6 years or so has been more strength, maybe more like 5 years, the last 5 years or so have been more strength, powerlifting. Just been eating and lifting, man. That's how I got thick. No steroids for me, not against it, just not my cup of tea. I don't need their assistance to get where my personal goals are. Can you dunk? I grew up playing basketball, like I just mentioned. I don't know if I could dunk right now. I was just at Reebok HQ in Boston, and we were messing around a little bit. I got up and got rim pretty easy, but I don't know if I could dunk right now. My verticals, maybe not what it used to be. I don't jump a lot. I don't play a lot, but I have dunked before. My squats feel more hip and hamstring dominant. How do you engage your quads more? If you want to strengthen your quads, there's a couple exercises. The front squat and the high bar squat, moving your stance in a little bit more narrow, will help a lot. And increasing, if you know for a fact that your hips, glutes, and hamstrings are a little bit stronger than your quads, getting your quads stronger or up to par will increase your squat overall. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that your squat are hips and hamstring dominant. Simple exercises like a leg press. We're lucky enough to have a belt squat machine. Stuff along those lines to build your quads. Even a different sled pull. You can pull a sled backwards, kind of extending your legs, and it'll turn into like a leg extension. Or if you have a leg extension machine, that can work. But you don't necessarily need to feel your quads to lift more weight, unless your goal is to build big quads, in which case I suggest probably doing more front squats. That's about it for now, guys. Please subscribe if you like the video. Share it. Like the video if you like the video. And I'll be coming out with another Q&A coming up soon. Thanks.